I was 2 decades and 6 Grammy nominations into my career when I hit a crisis. Budgets and timelines were collapsing, but I was committed to keep delivering records at the highest level possible. So I went on a 4-year quest to find the perfect all-in-one production setup. But in the end, it was a new drum system I designed that unlocked everything. So in this video, I'm going to break down the critical principles behind the system and how solving drums made everything from writing through to mixing faster, more fun, and more creative. To start though, let's talk about why this took 4 years to figure out. Right at the time I was struggling with this quality versus speed crisis, I read an interview with Junkie XL where he casually mentions his template had 3,800 tracks or so, always on, always ready to go. This was so far outside my concept of production that I went down this enormous rabbit hole and convinced myself that the way out of my crisis was finding a way to handle every single aspect of my production. So writing, recording, editing, remixing, sampling, programming, and mixing quickly, fluidly, seamlessly, everything always available in one place. Across these 4 years, I researched, tested, and learned pretty much every major DAW out there, alongside networked samplers and hardware solutions. I tried to implement each of them into my day-to-day work in the studio, but always found a terminal flaw that meant I'd be no better off than when I started. I designed and I built complex templates that, in theory, would let me drop in a few ideas, press a few buttons, and have a finished track appear out the other end. But sessions never go to plan, and the creative process wound up hindered by all of these layers of complexity. In the end, I realized I was looking in the wrong place. I was trying to find a technical solution that could handle everything I needed to do all at once. What I actually needed was a system that would help me make the right decision at the right time. I switched from thinking like an audio engineer to thinking like a cognitive psychologist. What would let my mind stay light, creative, receptive? What were the most important decisions and what were the irrelevant details? I got curious about where the creative flow stopped and why. Through that lens, I noticed that the one part of the music process I was so obsessed with, the beats, was where things had become heavy. They were blocked. It was slow. So I figured that if I could make this one area of my production system better, it might actually move me along further than the years I had spent trying to solve everything at once. So I went back to first principles and got crystal clear on what I would need my drum system to handle for me to use it, and to trust it day in and day out. So these are my 10 core principles that guided my design. Principle 1, getting your drums to hit isn't about a ton of processing. It's about making sure your layers don't fight each other and cancel out. When they're messy, inconsistent, or poorly aligned, you lose focus and punch because of phase cancellation or your transients not working together. When you get this right, come mix time, you push up your faders and things just kind of work. Your production will breathe. But getting it right requires serious attention to detail. It's a time-consuming and skillful process, which I traditionally achieved by hand editing every single hit into position on the Pro Tools timeline. Early in my freelance career, I was actually hired by a ton of producers and mixers to bring their multi-tracks up to this level. Likewise, this degree of precision is a non-negotiable in my own productions now. So the first principle is that the drum system must deliver sample-accurate precision of placement over every single element in time. Principle 2, hand editing every hit on the timeline in Pro Tools gives you remarkable precision and timing control, but you miss out on the next range of choices that make or break how your production breathes. When you use a sampler, you can switch sounds, you can change pitch, and adjust ADSR envelopes quickly. These are the big choices that shape how your beats feel and hit. Using a sampler also opens up a range of creative expression with velocities and MIDI mapping. Even better, because you're using MIDI triggering, it's now very easy to experiment with tempo, groove, and swing. Principle 2 is the drum system must deliver high-end sampler levels of control. Principle 3. When you're only using a sampler triggered by a sequencer, your creative possibilities get constrained to the note on and note off of the trigger note itself. But with audio on the timeline, you can freely edit which part of the sound is used when. Reverses, stutters, and other creative possibilities open up. And it's a lot of fun. So principle 3 is that the drum system must allow full creative audio editing capabilities alongside the option to trigger one-shot samples. Principle 4. The majority of momentum-killing lost song moments happen while doom scrolling for sounds. But on the other extreme, a straight drum machine with built-in sounds is just too limited. You want the ability to rapidly access sounds you love while staying free of objectivity-killing option overwhelm. You also want to be able to quickly evolve, layer, or swap sounds as your production develops without having to reprogram, re-edit, re-engineer either the new sound or the rhythm part it's playing. When you can experiment with different sound choices in 2 clicks, creative options open without compromise, and your production fundamentals get so much stronger. So the 4th principle is your drum system must have fast, easy, focused library access that supports the sonic evolution of your production. Principle 5. For optimum sonic creativity, it is imperative that you can use your full plugin and hardware collection on any beat element at any time. Your beats cannot be stuck in a wrapper instrument with proprietary processing, where splitting out a sound is a pain in the butt at best or impossible at worst. Principle 5 is your drum system must allow full sonic control instantly at all stages of production. Principle 6. If you feel like you have to fight your system, it's not fun to use. If it has too many menus or hidden commands, it's too easy to forget those secret combinations. If it crashes often, or even at all, you'll lose your flow, and then you'll lose your trust in your setup. But if the system is stable, easy to navigate, simple to use, you can remain in flow state and your creativity goes through the roof. So, principle 6 is that the system must be fun, fast, stable, and simple to use in your session. Principle 7. When the result of every knob twist or button press is entirely predictable, your process becomes entirely predictable. Boredom sets in and your sessions start feeling like a grind. But when production feels collaborative, when it has the capacity to surprise you, your brain will be constantly refreshed and new ideas will flow. Principle 7 is that your drum system must contain an intangible element of surprise, unexpected moments that inspire and encourage you. Principle 8. Way too many drum systems seem purposely designed to sabotage your ability to finish music. They keep you in loop mode, and they make arrangement an entirely separate process. This demands constant mode switching, which fractures and impairs your creative flow. But if your system allows you to work on small phrases while longer passages unfold, if it makes it easy for you to get really detailed on key dynamic moments without losing the big picture, if it's easy to see and understand exactly what is happening in any section of the song, that disconnect between patterns and arrangement is dissolved and your songs emerge naturally. The 8th principle is your drum system must encourage the arrangement of your complete piece of music from the moment you begin a new song. Principle 9. If your system asks you to write, produce, and mix all in the same place, it gets heavy, both technically and psychologically. And that slows down your decision making. It encourages you to second guess yourself every step of the way. Likewise, if your system makes it difficult and painful to export a multitrack to mix, you'll burn too much time and energy on boring admin. Before long, you'll start avoiding your system altogether. But when generating a mix-ready multitrack just takes a handful of clicks and a couple of minutes, momentum is maintained and your path to a high volume of high-quality music is wide open. Principle 9. Your drum system must easily deliver mix-ready multitracks fast. Principle 10. One of the coolest things about what we do as producers is exploring new technology and experimenting on the cutting edge. But there's a potential trap there. Like, we risk staying at surface level and losing intentionality and actually never developing mastery. But when a focused set of tools is embraced, when it's personalized, you can go deep. You develop that mastery. And this is also how your signature sound and unique self-expression emerge. Principle 10 is that your drum system must be intuitive enough to encourage experimentation and play, but deep enough to explore and master for life. So, spoiler alert, I eventually did figure it out and create this drum system that honors all these principles. And what's nuts is that this tighter focus on drums wound up giving me the end result I was looking for when I was banging my head against the everything all at once problem. So let me explain how every part of the writing, production, and mixing process got faster, easier, and more creative. We're going to start practical, and then we'll get a little bit mystical at the end, okay? Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering how to build this for yourself, there's a link below for the Beats Accelerator process. More on that at the end. Now, when you're in a writing session, first, just no fear of the blank screen because the system encourages first moves. It helps you experiment with confidence and easily modify the direction, feel, and tempo as the music emerges. Also, if I'm writing with an artist, collaborating with a vocalist, we'll often hit a point of finding a progression or a moment or a feeling in the song where they ask me to just leave it on loop for a while so they can write. In the past, this could lead to me getting stuck in the loop. But when writing with this drum system, I can actually keep evolving the production across different dimensions by building out a drum arrangement that keeps the music feeling fresh. So no stuck brain, and it provides a template to keep the production moving forward once my collaborator has their ideas in place. During production, it's easier to experiment and develop those blueprints from early sessions. The Rapid Access Library allows fast exploration of sonic possibilities. So getting the right sounds, the right layers, the right tunings, with the right envelopes, working coherently with punch and clarity without relying on additional processing brings way more confidence to your choices. And it also helps you understand where your production might need more work. The ability to use both triggered and timeline sounds expands your creative potential even further, which allows you to develop detailed dynamic arrangements with ease. And because the system is designed from the ground up for sample accuracy, there's a minimum of tedious technical tasks when you're deep in the production flow. You keep your focus on the bigger picture, capturing performances, the emotion, and the character of the song. So production is faster, easier, more creative, and more fun. When it comes to mix time, the sonic fundamentals have already been handled at source. If you push up your faders, nothing is fighting. Your beats breathe in a coherent way with all the music in the production. The arrangement is more dynamic, giving you more to work off and respond to in the mix. And because you're not spending your time trying to diagnose and solve fundamental sonic issues, All of your energy can go into the flow, the story of the song, giving you more headspace for creative moves and making sure the music will translate across systems. Mixing becomes faster, easier, more creative, and more fun. And finally, this is where something unexpected happened. Things started getting mystical once this system was fully in play in my sessions. Because the drum system isn't just technical, it's action-oriented, including this practice system that gives you a safe space to encounter and move past your mental demons. Overthinking, judgment, self-doubt all come up and are released through this practice system. And this allows you to open up a rock-solid connection to this mysterious source of infinite intelligence and energy that permeates everything and everyone. You realize ideas aren't the result of your effort. They're like a gift from beyond. And because you've released judgment and opened up that pipeline, you know that these ideas show up again and again, no matter what. Tension and scarcity drop away. And you start your sessions curious to see what's going to emerge. And you finish your sessions grateful to be an active participant in this miraculous process. Okay, so now that you understand the impact of this elite system, you're probably wondering how to build it for yourself and whether you can avoid 4 years of trial and error. So there's a link below to the Beats Accelerator process, which guides you step by step through building your own personalized version of the system and then trains you to achieve mastery yourself. And you get immediate access to the Beats Accelerator process when you join the Complete Producer process. It's the ultimate online environment to unlock your creative potential in the studio through a combination of on-demand training with live, real-time support and feedback from me. So hit that link and I'll see you there.